did it.
Hey, Gabe, who did the music for Star Wars?
I believe his name is Jonathan Williams.
Oh, Jonathan Williams up next. And let's see what we got here. John Williams versus Mr. Felix.
There you
Fix
go.
it, Felix, if you will.
And if you needed to know what Jonathan Williams is playing, you already knew.
Yeah,
it is Ruby
if
Sapphire.
you don't know, then you don't know John Williams.
Yeah, then you don't care about John Williams or seeing Jonathan Williams play if you don't know what he's playing.
John's on a mission, guys. He's come here and gotten second place twice, and he doesn't want to go home with second place again.
Oh my! Googly Glimmers is in the chat right now, trolling Wochuk so hard. So Googly Glimmers, what we love about you is that we call on you for some of the best judge rulings, but also you give us some of the spiciest takes, and we love you for that every single moment.
I just read it, and that is actually an incredible statement. Thank you for that, Googly. We miss you.
We miss you. We wish you were here. We love you.
It's so funny.
Oh goodness gracious!
I'm gonna make sure Chuck knows about that one. That's
yeah. Screen cap that and send it directly to Wochuk.
Yeah, well, the sooner Chuck gets eliminated, the more dangerous we start to get in the chat for sure. Usually he gets eliminated and then starts like doing like drunk tweeting and drunk commenting, drunk posting in our chats. But thankfully for now he is in the event, and
and he's actually doing okay.
He's doing pretty good. So
alrighty. So
I love these sleeves.
Yeah, these sleeves are pretty. The green.
They're like chroma key green.
Yeah, like thankfully we're not using a green screen, or it would just be like a bunch of like square empty blocks.
Those are nice. I like that. So as we can see, John Williams versus Blue Steel. So red, blue, and blue steel. This is a tale as old as time, if you will. And something that I'm surprised we haven't done more of today, but we've been doing our best, guys, to spoon feed you a little bit of flavor before we hit you with the the spinach.
We kind of had a vibe. There was a vibe. It was off, but we knew we had to counteract it.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer to the point where we just need to show you the meta as it is, and we're approaching that. And here we are.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Williams and Felix are getting ready to enter into their altar phase here. Getting ready to do the thing. Who takes this? What do you think?
Are both these players X and 1, by the way, or are they X and
0?
No, Williams just lost, so it has to be X and 1.
Yes, yeah.
So one of these players most likely will get knocked out of top 16 here.
Yeah, so we can call this a win and in.
Essentially, yeah. Top 16. A couple X2s may sneak in. I got to look and see how many. It's 8 rounds, which makes it a little trickier. If it was 9 rounds, for sure, it would be maybe an X and 2, but.
There's also an abnormally large number of draws that took place, and for those of you that are like concerned, like these draws started happening really early on, like round 2 and 3.
Well, you know why, right? There's, pretty obvious, but not only is it because people are playing a bunch of Sapphire decks, but you got to remember a lot of players that maybe don't have reps on Sapphire decks are playing Sapphire decks, and when that happens, people play slow, and slow equals ties, and ties equal. I don't know what ties equal, but they equal ties.
There's not. Let me tell you what. I got a bunch of ties at DLCs, and it got me just about nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I got at least 30 tickets.
Yeah, I got about like 15 ties at home, but I never wear them.
Well, that's horrible. That's just horrible
because I don't have any suits to wear them with.
Well, then you wonder why we didn't include you in the suit Slack group. That we didn't want to make you feel bad.
You're true. That's true. I understand.
All right.
So we already see the Sisu in the hand here, and John Williams drawing his initial 7 here.
Yep.
And we see T-pose in the opening hand, so we know we're going to be looking at that. John Williams just man, I can't imagine what it feels like to be John Williams. Like, imagine just playing red blue all the time. Like, how does your brain do it? Like, just every time, looking at the hand, you're like, all right, here we go, popsicle T-pose, Hiram, here we go again. Gosh, how do people have fun? But John Williams loves it. He lives for the glory, and yeah, he's been very successful on this list, and he will continue to be successful on this list, I would imagine.
What I will say about Jonathan Williams, too, that I really appreciate is he's always trying to find ways to just sharpen that deck. Like, I watch him, I follow him on YouTube, and I follow him on social media, and he's always thinking about that Ruby Sapphire deck and saying, okay, just because it's the best deck in the format doesn't mean that it can't be better. So how can we make it better? And I would argue that if we had people as passionate about Ruby Sapphire for other colors as Jonathan is about Ruby Sapphire, I think the meta could be different. I do think that there is some level of like groupthink that affects the meta. There's a little bit of like listening to maybe what an influencer might say, or I think that, and not only that, but because we are playing primarily paper and there's not really an online client to properly and effectively test through, that does cause the meta to play a little bit more slowly.
For sure. And we saw Felix very quickly ink down a Jafar.
Yep.
Which I don't know if you saw it in your games with Liam, but I have not seen that card played quite yet. And a card that I actually really enjoy. It's essentially what we would call a crab at home.
Crab at home.
And it is a crab-like effect. It does provide a +2 challenger to a character when you play it, but unlike crab, it is questing for 2.
Yep.
And it does have 2 willpower instead of the 3. So interesting choice there, and interesting to see if it'll show up in this match at all. But I do like that card a lot. So very cool.
All right, choosing the ink, the Great Stone Dragon here.
The Great Stone Dragon, a must-have for Dragon John as we ink it down.
Yes,
and
Great Stone Dragon John even.
Great Stone Dragon John. All right, we're going to just pass it back. We're content with inking twice here. And Smee, best 2-drop in the game, will come down and get some free lore here for sure.
Yeah,
once Felix figures out what he's doing here for his turn. Yep, there you go, up to 2.
Yeah, and so this is a pretty common start. It's common, it's average. I would call this an average start. Felix probably likely wanting to see Bell, which, interestingly enough,
Benja.
There's Benja to take care of the popsicle.
Yeah, so he said if you have Hiram, you're going to have to wait a little longer.
Exactly. Of note, Jonathan at 3 ink going to 4, that was the perfect time to play that Benja.
And he does have Hiram in hand. He just drew one. I don't know if he had another, but
Benja, that Benja was certainly very well timed. I'm sure that Jonathan Williams, is so angry. He's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to brawl this thing.
You took my item, I'll take your life.
I got you then, Benja. Come at me again and see what happens.
Yeah, so Benja didn't stick around for long, but not bad. I mean, he took away a popsicle, and then he took away essentially a turn from John Williams, right? John Williams had to spend his whole turn just brawling that Benja. So I would say Benja got its use there. 3 ink, destroy an item, and your opponent passes the turn. That's pretty good.
That is not bad. I mean,
yeah, that's not bad. So we do have 4 ink coming up here for Felix. And curious if it's going to be a Grandma Tala or if he has maybe an Alice or something that he's playing. I don't know what this list.
There's the McDuck
Look
Manor.
at John's face. He said,
Yeah, he said, well, that is not going to be great. Jonathan Williams saying, couldn't you just play more characters so that I can eventually cease with them? Like, why'd you got to do that McDuck thing?
That's the face that says, I don't have a hideaway in my hand.
Yeah. That's a no hideaway face.
Ooh, and then Hiram having to get inked here. And you can see how beneficial that Benja was, because he just does not have another item. He just doesn't have a way to get value out of that Hiram. I'm sure he does not want to ink that Hiram, but you got to do what you got to do here. And he is able to play Medusa to clean up. And Medusa does give him a 4 attack character that he can use to start smacking into that manner. But 4 is not 9.
That is in fact how the math works. You're not wrong.
And 2 4s are not 9. So it would take 3 turns of this thing attacking into the manor.
So we're talking 4 to 6 more lore.
Yep, absolutely.
That is wild.
Yeah, absolutely. That is not the deck we're looking for, by the way. I see you typing up there. Yeah, no, that's not going to do it, sir. Sorry, we're looking at like 4 different screens right now, guys, so I apologize. But anyways, so Grandma Tala comes down. We'll go ahead and peek at 2 cards here. And looks like we're deciding between a Raging Fire, Strength of a Raging Fire, and a blue card that I can't quite see, maybe. Let's see what he decides on. Raging Fire is good if you're able to amass a pretty wide board here, but right now, not sure how useful it would be. But Felix thinking it through, make sure that he takes his time here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just of note, I will tell you, as we're getting closer here, it's always interesting to see what are some of the differences in these Sapphire Steel decks. What I'll tell you is that in Felix's deck, outside of what you'd expect from like the song package, there's also a couple of little surprises. Cards like Fire the Cannon, Baboom as well, to deal with little pesky issues too.
Yeah, those have been great, especially with the rise in Diablo. That's something that I hate to see. I've been playing a lot of green-purple discard, and I hate seeing people playing Babooms and Fire the Cannons. Definitely not on my favorite list, but yeah, definitely a solid card, and just good to pick off damage, right? Like you just put 4 damage on something and then pay 1 to finish it off, like a Tomato or something like that. So definitely a lot of merit to these cards. And Baboom hits locations too, right? So
Baboom does hit locations as well. That is correct.
That's what I'm saying. So you get 2 damage potentially. You could throw on a location as well. So A lot
Yeah.
of use cases for these cards. So I
Yeah,
think
and
that they're
like I mean, we're looking here. We were just doing the math on the McDuck Manor and how many times he would need to use that Medusa.
Mhm.
You know, think about the opposite side of that. You know, if you're able to say, well, I got these characters, but I also can do 2 more,
Yep.
and that's usually the difference here between being able to knock out that McDuck Manor on 3 turns from now versus 2 from now.
Somebody in chat says, "Is that blue steel ramp in this economy?"
In this economy, yes, in fact, in this economy,
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a tough one, but hey, it can still be done. Red blue does not have as many ways to deal with items, and they have a few ways, but not many ways. So if blue steel can just amass a million items and just stick a dime in Tamatoa, they could definitely do some work here, but it's definitely not going to be easy. And John
it's
Williams
not.
is not going to make it easy for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, taking a look, there's 2 Tamatoas, one on the other side of the board, so both of them threatening to play locations for free. Jonathan Williams questing for the 2. Does Jonathan Williams have an item? He does, and it's a Sapphire Coil, and what an item it is!
That's a great one. Yep,
that is a great item.
And Felix knows it is, as he nods his head
Oh,
and says goodbye.
yikes, everybody! So Sisu used to fantastic effect after a coil to drop down the strength of that Tamatoa.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly!
Yep, that's a big one. And now you can see John's board, looking totally different than it was a moment ago. A second ago, felt like Felix was in the driver's seat, and we still do have that McDuck Manor in play, but not looking as menacing as it was before.
No,
now that we have all these characters in play, but Felix up to 11 lore, and it's still trucking along here as hopefully he can get some more people in chat being a little sarcastic. Holy moly, what an incredibly skillful play. Yeah, it was a really powerful play.
yeah.
Well, don't blame John. He didn't print the card, so he's just doing what he needs to do to get the W. So I don't blame him. But Felix here just thinking through his thinking through his turn.
That's okay. I knew what you meant, even though nobody else did.
He's thinking through his turn. He's thinking through his turn here as he goes ahead and adds another McDuck Manor to the board and gets rid of the Medusa. I believe he played a Baboom there. So we were talking about earlier how that can be useful in just picking characters off. So
yeah,
really good here. We do have, it's just unfortunately not gonna. He won't be able to clear it here, but still, it's not gonna be great.
Get some damage on it. Get started on the work.
Yeah, it's
playing another Sisu. So we are looking at 8 lore on the table between 3 characters.
Absolutely, but it's not enchanted, so I think we should just scoop it up to Felix.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Williams is going to have to hashtag get good and get an enchanted Sisu. Why does the one enchanted Sisu not have a friend that looks exactly like it? That's not fair.
I actually like the foil Sisus a lot. Enchanted Sisu is cool, but foil Sisu is kind of sweet. I like that card.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So a bunch of items in play here for Felix, but items cannot quest. So it's going to be a little bit rough here as there are quite a few threads in here. And we do have cards like Zeus and whatnot, but 3 ink available. That's not good.
No. I mean, to say it's not good is an understatement. Now, to your point, there are answers in Felix's deck. So, we've got Lawrence's that can check the Sisus if we can get to those. We have Zeus's as well. Not an ideal way to. You don't want to draw into a Zeus and then play the Zeus and then sit there while there's still another Sisu and a Tamatoa kind of dealing with you.
Of course.
So it's not fantastic.
Yeah,
but
Felix was in the. I keep wanting to say Nick because we saw Nick earlier on Blue Steel, but Felix thinking it through here because it's definitely a pickle. He's going to go ahead and get rid of the Hiram, choosing to instead go with the Doc. Very interesting play. He didn't have a way to ink Doc and play Hiram. I'm sure he would have preferred that. So he was really thinking it through whether or not he wanted to ink this Hiram. But unfortunately, you got to move the game along, right? Like we can't just pass here. So he does need to ink the Hiram, unfortunately. So that is a little bit of an uh-oh for him. And Sisu will come in and claim the manor. And I don't see good things for Felix in this future.
I don't either. I mean, I know that Jonathan Williams is the one playing Vision of the Future, but maybe he should tell Felix what's about to happen to him.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one here, and we will put a card in our inkwell, and we'll draw some more cards with Popsicle.
And we just at this point, Jonathan is comfortable
Yep, that's he's sternly in the driver's seat now.
Yeah.
He's nice and comfortable, seatbelts on, and car's running.
Yeah,
So
and we are free to move about the cabin here.
absolutely, and we're gonna just add a Maui just because we're just trying to play as many Enchanted as possible. That's new win condition. If you could play 5 Enchanted in play, you just win the game on the spot.
It'd be interesting to see a card like that in the future.
Yeah, if you have 5 Enchanted,
yeah.
But right now, that unenchanted Sisu is really costing him from that win condition. So
yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Now the Maui, of course, some of you may be questioning, well, why are you playing a character that you can't really get its most that you can't really get the most efficiency out of? It just sits there. It has reckless. Well, you know what it also is? It's also a fantastic singer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jonathan Williams is playing many 5 cost or less songs that could very easily be sung with that Maui to great effect.
Yeah, John Williams looks like he only has like 1 card in hand, despite all the popsicles and with shenanigans. But it's just his board presence is just so huge. But the Raging Fire is definitely going to help here as we choose to get rid of the Enchanted. Very smart move here, so he doesn't lose to the 5 Enchanted win condition. And let me not, because I'm going to confuse some. If there's some new players out there, the game's like, what? There's a 5 Enchanted win condition.
Yeah, you better be careful. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So let's see. We're up to 7, and I mean, I know people are saying we already know the outcome, but things can happen. But yeah, it definitely doesn't look promising for I keep saying Nick, for Felix here. I'm still thinking about Beefcake. Johnny Bravo. He was just a guy I thought he was gonna crush my head. Okay, so we got Calhoun here, which will present a possible 2 more lore, and just not taking the quest with the Lawrence here. I guess trying to keep it back in case we need to attack this Sisu.
Yeah, I think the problem that we have here. Oh, now they both.
But that's the problem. You don't.
They are both in top deck mode at this point. Both of them are without cards in hand.
That's so tricky.
The problem though is one of these players is okay with that, and the other one's probably less okay with that. Can you guess which of these 2 players is okay with being in top deck mode?
Yeah, I might have just. I mean, I know it's hard to say, but I might have quested with the Lawrence there, just because even though Maui's going to eat it, I mean that Sisu Brawl feels so bad, or Coil Brawl feels so bad. Like you're just not able to even get 2 lore out of it. And,
yeah, it's really rough. Oh, and there you go.
And yep,
Felix saying, you know what?
We know what's going on.
We got to figure out how to play more of this game in a short amount of time. Let's just go ahead and do that. And of course, Felix doing the thing that I'm always apprehensive to do. Felix looking at the next 3 cards just to see what would have come. Every time I do that, I get upset with myself.
I don't do that.
I hate doing that.
I don't believe, and I don't like when my opponent shows me like the next 5 cards they were going to draw. It's like we didn't get there. So
absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah. My opponent's like, oh look, if I had drawn 7 more cards, what I would have had. I'm like, yeah, well, if you drew 7 more, you would have.
If you had 15 more turns and 13 more cards, you probably would have beat me. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's just not a pet peeve, I won't say, because some people don't. The people are not malicious, but like it's just funny.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Not a 2-day event. It's 2 days separate events. So today will be just 1 event. So we are doing a 15 case today, which will be cutting to top 16 after 1 more round. We are around 7 of 8 right now for Swiss. And then we are cutting to top 16, which will all play out tonight. And then tomorrow we have a 3 case event that will be here. Just following up this one. We'll have some of the same players, but definitely not as many players. Many players needing to go back home to their families and stuff. Not everybody can just hang out in Florida for the full weekend, so I understand.
They should, though, because it's so beautiful down here.
Yeah, but there will be another event tomorrow as well. I don't know if Gabe, will you be here tomorrow?
I'm going to be playing in it, yeah.
Oh, we'll be playing. So Gabe and I will be playing. Maybe we'll put some headsets on, and you could just do commentary during our games.
Yeah. I'll just tell my opponent about my hand and let them, know what game
we'll just talk,
lines I'm
only
going
you
through.
and I can hear each other, and we'll just talk to each other throughout the tournament.
I like that. Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
We just call each other on the phone.
That'll
work too.
6-7K? No, it's a 3K tomorrow.
It's a 3K tomorrow, yeah, 3K.
Oh, 15K. I'm sorry, he's saying 15 case. That's quite big, right?
It is.
Yeah. It depends on usually a case is about $400.
Yeah,
give or take.
Each case is $4. So multiply 15 times 4, and that's the number of boxes that you're putting in that prize pool.
Right. So yeah, usually a case is about $400. So you can do the math and see the EV on that, but it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, and it's a charity event. So Peter Raimundo, who is here in the house, which is a very acclaimed Disney animator, he's in here doing signatures and alters on cards and stuff. Looks amazing. he gets to choose a charity. First place gets to choose a charity, and then SSG will also be choosing a charity. So,
oh yeah. Speaking of which, I can't wait to show everybody. I actually asked for Peter to do a commission for me.
did you?
I did. It's gonna be really cool. I want to show. I'll tell you guys because I feel like even explaining it, I think seeing it would still be pretty cool. But you know, as you know, I'm a member of the team Illuminati. So what I asked Peter Raimundo to do was to put all of the characters that he's known for having drawn, so like Mulan and Stitch and Scar, put them all in Illuminati capes and have them on a table. I'm like so excited. Yes, it's gonna be so cool.
This is on a card?
No, he's gonna draw. I have him doing it on a paper. Like he's gonna be doing. It's like a commission.
I was like, how are you gonna put all of that on a card? But that does
no, on a paper. He's doing it on a paper for me. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yep.
Oh, you know what we should do too at some point? We got to show them the prizes, don't we? Got to show them the cards.
I'm definitely going to do that. After this round, I'm going to run and get them.
Is this the fuzzy camera?
It doesn't matter. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. Well,
as we play an Upside Down Pete, which I heard Wojciech is a huge fan of Upside Down Pete.
If you ever play against Wojciech, he really loves it when you turn the Pete upside down to indicate that you're not allowed to play in action. That's like his favorite thing.
Wojciech, one of my favorite Wojciech tweets was, the girl is a 10 out of 10, but she plays her Pete upside down. Are you going to call her?
Pete or Wojciech is something else.
But
we do see a different state here. Now, of course, as we know about Ruby Sapphire, it is a deck that tends to bleed. So Ruby Sapphire decks let you get to a certain point. We're kind of experiencing that right now. So you've got Felix who's sitting with Captain Hook and Smee, which of note, that means that Mr. Smee does not take damage every turn that it's exerted because we have a pirate down.
Yep.
And then a Pete, of course, slows down Jonathan Williams' ability to play actions.
He can't how far I'll go here, which I'm sure he's upset about. Not upset about, but it's got to be a frustrating spot. Even though it looks like he doesn't have a how far, he looks like he has a Hiram, which unfortunately does not care about your Pete.
No, but he does have a brawl which can deal with the Captain Hook. Obviously after the turn that the Pete is in effect, we got to make sure of that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to spend your whole turn destroying a Captain Hook, though.
No, you don't. You definitely. That's not a good use of your resources. You are right.
Okay, so let's fast it back over here and see. I mean, Felix is jamming here. 8 lore right now. Nothing super crazy happening for John, but don't be fooled. As we saw last game, things can change quite quickly.
Yeah.
So John just, making sure he's analyzing his hand here, making sure that he knows his game plan. John, a very smart individual when it comes to this piloting this deck. So, just thinking about all the lines and the ways that he can maneuver this to get the W for sure. So thinking about what he wants to ink here.
Yeah, and I see in terms of prices outside of the 15 cases, what I also want to point out that the mats that you see that both players are playing on is also part of that as well. So we've got the play mats. We have a champion and finalist play mat with that art that you're seeing with Cusco, kind of given like the heart fingers. So that's part of the prize pool as well. And Peter Raimundo also drew on 8 of the national. The continental Cusco promos,
the non-foils.
Yeah, so you'll be seeing those as well. So there's different arts for the different placements. So from 1st to 8, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are getting a special treatment of art. 3 and 4 are getting something special, and then 1 and 2, that one's really, really cool.
Yeah, I'll bring them in after this round. I'll run out there and grab them so we can show everybody because they're really cool. John here goes ahead and uses the Maui to clean up the Smee, so Smee won't be questing for 2 any longer. But we do see Hiram come down and draw a couple of cards here for Felix. And Pete cleaning up the rest of the Maui here. And
so
he quested with it. I was going to say, how did the Pete survive? He used the hook to finish the Maui, and then he quested with Pete.
Yeah, I'm looking at the number of ink that Jonathan still has. All right, so we see a brawl. Is that 6 total ink on Jonathan's side?
That is
it's hard to tell the white is
4. It looks like 5, unless he has something stacked, but that looks like 6 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So passing it back over. And Felix, still pretty slow here, but every turn that passes by is a turn closer to chaos here. So right now, this is just the calm before the storm, as 1 popsicle sits in play and 1 Pete sits in play. And John gives a direct look into the camera and makes a face. I don't know what that was about, but maybe he feels like we're watching him, which we are.
I think Jonathan that's like The Office, you know, when you like look at the camera, you're like, whoa, geez.
Yeah. I think we should make a show like The Office, but in a TCG store. Wouldn't that be great?
I think
Nobody steal
yeah,
my idea, please.
it could be really funny. Could be really scary too.
Like Severance, but a TCG store.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we see Felix opting to, you know, bring out multiple characters, looking to kind of go wide. You know, you got to be careful a little bit here. We're entering into the 7th ink turn of Jonathan, so there's potentially a be prepared. However, Jonathan valuing drawing more, using that Hiram, and yeah, I think we see some options here.
Let's see here. Draws a lot of cards. I see Sisu in hand. John puts his hand to his head here and says, "All right, what's next?" Okay, Vitalosphere. That one doesn't draw a card, but very, very useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll pass it right back over, and a little bit of chess match here as we just kind of, back and forth and just kind of put the seed down and see how we're going to maneuver through this matchup.
Now, I think the thing to point out here, like the Vitalosphere, is actually a very impactful card here. So if the goal is to get out a Maui Half Shark, for example, to start capitalizing on it. Now, one of the things that Maui Half Shark is really good at is locking down the board, because once you see the Maui Half Shark, you don't want to turn the character sideways. Here's the catch, though. You have to see that the Half Shark is on the table for that to work, don't you?
Right.
And so if you're comfortable, or if you say, you know what are the chances that he has it? What are the chances that he has it? And then you start turning characters sideways, and then before you know it, on the following turn, a Maui Half Shark comes down, you pay for the Vitalosphere, and all of a sudden your game is just over. It's just done.
100%.
Because you didn't really value that Vitalosphere. Now, we didn't see that happen here. What we saw instead was Hiram decided to eat that Vitalosphere, giving Jonathan the additional cards needed, getting him closer to the tools he needed, and of course opting with what he's drawn to wipe the board with a be prepared in order to try to start to take over the board.
Yeah, and I love how John keeps making these direct eye contact with the camera. It's just like he looks. It's like he sees us.
I feel like at this point he hears. Does he hear us? And he's looking at us.
Yeah, somebody else said it too. Why is John staring at me?
Yeah.
He keeps doing this thing where he just looks right into the camera. It's really funny.
You know what though? I gotta say I respect the camera presence. I really do. I respect it. In fact, from now on, if I'm ever on that stream table, I'm gonna do the same thing.
Just stare at it between your hands.
Thank you for the brilliant idea. And thank you for being so awesome.
Just death stare the whole time. Oh, look at us. Look at us. I thought I was safe here. And Stefan's just putting me on. I got to be careful what I want.
Yeah.
I got to be careful how I'm sitting and I'm looking. You just throw me in there. He does that at locals as well. He's being fake and not showing up.
Oh, no.
Not like this.
Seriously,
no, John Williams, he would never.
Yeah, that sounds like a conversation to be had outside of this. Is crazy.
Also, thank you guys for the compliments on the commentary. We did catch that as well. And,
yes, thank you guys.
We really appreciate it. Gabe and I are very thankful to be here, and we love commentating for you guys. And we're very happy that Liam from the Illuminateers joined us today. It's been a wealth of knowledge for us as well. And yeah, we love what we do here, and we love bringing this to you guys. And I know we can get a little off the rails sometimes, a little crazy. But thank you guys for all your support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I hope that when we do go off the rails, we do so just for the love of everybody there. So
okay.
That's the breakup text. I love it. I love the chat. You're crazy.
Chat keeps me going. I love that chat is hanging out with us today.
Yeah, seriously.
So John with the Tamatoa in play, which it's a good card to have in play as he decides on his options here, how he's going to attack this. He's still at 1 lore. So
that's a good point. Now traditionally, if we were talking about the last format, there's a bit of a mishmash of Lucky Dimes and the Maui Half Sharks.
Ooh, I like that.
We have to wonder, is Jonathan still on a Lucky Dime variant of this thing, or has he kind of conformed and moves on to just the Maui Half Shark?
Sharknadoes.
Yeah, the Sharknado situation.
Not sure. But let's see. I really like that Zeus on that Tamatoa last turn was really big. Is he with no cards in hand? Is those two? No, those 2 cards sitting on the table are ink, right? So I'm pretty sure Felix is just top decking at the moment. So that Zeus was great, but this Bell's not gonna take us all the way to the promised land. We're gonna there you go.
Yeah, there's a Maui.
She's she overstayed her welcome by quite a bit, and
she did, and not only did she overstay her welcome, but the amount of damage that she did put on Maui just brushed off. A little popsicle makes everything feel just a little bit better. And Maui has healed 2 of that and is now at 1 damage. The goal again, as I talked about a little bit earlier, is you want to get the most effect, the most efficiency out of your cards.
Oh, that is one of the better cards you can draw off the top, especially when you have an item sitting in play.
Yeah, the Hiram was clutch.
And yet another popsicle.
And a popsicle for next turn. If Jonathan does not solve the Hiram, then there's 2 more cards that are about to enter into Felix's hand here.
Absolutely. So let's see here. Felix has a couple of cards to choose from. Oh, it looks like he had more than 1 card in his hand. Okay, so he did have a couple there. I see a Strength of a Raging Fire. I see a Calhoun. A little hard to make out the rest, but
yeah, certainly.
Definitely some things he can think of, maybe Ink and Calhoun here. Oh, yeah, not off the top. Yeah, I thought for sure he was playing off the top, but no, he does have cards in hand. That was my mistake. He must have placed them off to the side there. And
so look at that.
I'll go.
The only thing Maui does better than challenge is sing, sing, sing. And how far we go.
Yeah, how far I go, very powerful here. Just gets you another tool to dig, ramps you up another turn. Yeah, diamond hand for John. I see Otto saying that, and that is, not a big threat right now because we really don't have any. Well, now it might be a bigger threat. I was going to say we don't have a lot of lore to steal and play, but yeah.
Yeah, well, 3 is good.
3 is great.
The real question is, can Felix scrape together 5 more lore to win this game? And obviously, potentially more if Pirate's Life is a factor here.
Yep. And we're gonna pass it back over to John. John will lay him out for us here. Got the ink all appropriate. And let's think about what we're doing next here. Okay. Talking a little bit here. Looking through the discard.
Jonathan's in the tank, thinking about what needs to be played in order to do things the right way. Lots of options in Jonathan's hand. Jonathan is able to do a bit of things here. We do see.
Oh, actually, I'm so sorry. I saw Jonathan looking through his discard, so I thought it was on his turn. We're back over to Felix.
Yep, we are.
Okay, sorry, I lost track of turns here. Okay, but now we are back over to John. Sorry, because John does this thing where he readies his ink at the end of his turn, and it throws me off. Like I always think it's the start of his turn, but he's just readying it at the end of his turn, and it just breaks my brain. But we are back on John now.
Yeah.
So let's see. John's thinking it through here, and Felix was able to present, a decent amount of threats here, and all of them with 3 power, which is quite good in case there's another Sisu on the horizon. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's lethal. I mean, if this Calhoun collides with anything, these other 2 questers are going to seal the deal. But John doesn't look too worried, so I'm sure John is going to figure out a way here to clear the board. Let's see here.
Yeah, and so
freeze up a bit. Oh gosh, come on, come back.
As they're rounding here, they're kind of rounding that home base.
Yep.
Just trying to figure it out. We
did Tamatoa and we did Medusa, right?
Yep.
So Medusa cleaned up on the Jafar, and Tamatoa did what Tamatoa does. We see that he holds back on the Sisu. He just doesn't want to give up 2 more lore to that Calhoun for any reason, just in case there's a way to buff it with the other Jafar. And we see, we can get 2 lore, 3 lore here, go to 18. What are we doing here? Oh, Doc, let's give some more cards here. What a great card Doc has been, huh?
Doc is so good. I mean, Doc is a card that just changed. That card, I think, changed the way that Amber Steel is played in a very tremendous way. It did so in the last format. Creating things like Diggy Diggy Hole.
Yep.
I mean, the Doc is just so good. And then people took that, and it was like, well, it's not just good here in Amber Steel; it's also good in every other color pairing of Steel. And they've been figuring out ways to use it. I've even seen variations of Sapphire Steel that kind of blends numbers of either card of the Doc and of Hiram. And we're seeing that here as well. Felix, having played Hiram,
like
also playing Doc.
Another Sisu's on the way here.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, there certainly is.
It's just as much as I understand that we needed to quest with the Calhoun here, I almost don't love it because Sisu is going to quickly clean up on the Benja and the Doc.
Yes, it is.
And then we're just giving an open swing in here to the Calhoun. So we'll see how it plays out. It's possible John doesn't have a Sisu. I can't tell. I think the card right in front. I see 8-drop Tamatoa. There's
that's
Dime.
Enchanted Sisu in the middle.
I think so. It looks like it at least. So production's telling me it is in fact the Sisu.
It is a Sisu.
So yeah, so that's tough.
I believe that the subtitle of that one is Empowered Sibling. Let me know if I'm wrong in the chat.
Yeah, it is Empowered. I believe it's Empowered Sibling. Yeah, I get them confused with the subtext with the 3-drop.
I know the little one is Daring Visitor.
Oh, Daring Visitor.
Is the little one is the one drop one.
Sorry guys, little behind the scenes laugh here, and we're gonna go to 6, 7, 8.
Playing a free. Oh, you saw it, Otto. You saw it.
Oh,
there's the lucky dime,
and now we're at 11.
Things get weird.
How did this happen? How did we get here? This is like one of those things. It's like you're probably wondering how I ended up here with like freeze frame. Yeah, that's what Felix is feeling like right now. You're probably wondering how we ended up in this situation, but.
You have no idea.
Oh God, Felix looked like he was just cruising for so long, and John just like turns it around so quick. Wow,
he does,
man.
Yep.
Just John with the patience. I mean, I think that's like just such a look at that. He does the face. You missed it. He did it again. He did the wide eye, look right into the camera thing again. Yeah.
Oh, Jonathan Williams, we love you.
John Williams, Nerf Sapphire. The chat says, "Oh my goodness." I don't know. To me, it looked like a lot of Sisu.